There are a whole lot of different types of children I have met over my lifetime. There have been the kind ones, the shy ones, the loud ones, the quiet ones, and the bratty ones. I wouldn't say I'm much of a kid person. Sure, I can babysit maybe one or two, but the moment they get bratty, I can't do it. Kisa is probably one of the sweetest anime kids I've ever met. Her kind soul roped me in immediately to her character, but I can't say the same for her not so sweet counterpart, Hiro. Can you believe it? An episode that doesn't rip your heart out of your chest and tear it into pieces. I'm excited, but at the same time not excited to see how hard Hiro is going to trigger me throughout this whole episode. From what I can tell from the Fruits Basket subreddit, I'm not the only one that gets triggered by Hiro either. If you enjoyed this comparison or any others on the remake, then do yourself a favor and subscribe. That would be pretty cool of you. And to the 400 plus people that have already subscribed, I have to say you're all so rad, it's ridiculous. But let's get this show on the road. I would hate to waste your precious time. I'm BriThi, your local DJ, and in today's video we're going to compare episode 20 of the remake to the original. So just a little info bomb for you gamers out there. This episode in the original was much later on than in the remake. Hana's story was actually before Hiro's story. I don't really know why in the original they decided to put space between this episode and Kisa's story, but I prefer them being one after the other. It just keeps the continuity in check. This is just some background knowledge that you might not know about. Let's hop into the first comparison.
さっちゃんによく似た子がいるね。おじちゃんがお菓子買ってあげよっか。寝ぼけてるの？それともタチの悪い親父ギャグのつもりなの？ぐっすん。ゆきくんは今日も冷たいのでございます。話してあげなよ。下劣菌が移るから。それで、学校の方はどうだい？
頑張ってる。お母さんもお兄ちゃんたちもお姉ちゃんたちもいてくれるから頑張れるの。
ハート乱舞。
So this scene is visually almost the same, but dialogue wise there are a few things that have changed. First things first is Shigure mentions the anime that they are watching in the original while he does not in the remake. This prompts Kisa to explain that they are watching it because all the other kids at school are infatuated with it. This actually explains quite a lot about Kisa's development with school so far. She is trying to fit in more with the students and relate to them by watching this show that they all like. This was a great piece of dialogue the remake missed out on, sadly. However, the remake supplemented this scene with Kisa's improved work ethic. She tells Shigure how hard she is trying with the encouragement of everyone around her. It is what the kids call quite adorable. One thing that stays the same through both versions is Kisa's quiet, mild voice. I can't help but think how fitting it is for her, not to mention how cute it sounds. At this moment, I wanted to be Toru and just give Kisa a big hug because she's so cute. Ugh, I can't stand it. But enough gushing about Kisa, let's move on.
おばさん、キサは？
あらあら、ごめんね。キサは今日しぐれさんのお宅に泊まってるの。トールさんとアニメビデオ見るのって。キサは本当にトールさんのことが好きみたいね。
One big difference between these two scenes is the lighting. While the original has a very dark setting, the remake went for a brightly lit one. Why I think this is really important is because this is the first time we ever see Hiro in the show. He is a special case in the Zodiac Curse because he is probably one of the few characters that have not gone through extreme hardships and managed to live a pretty normal life. With a dark introduction like this, it sets him up to be like the other Zodiac members and have a tragic past, but that is not the case. With a light introduction like this, you get a totally different vibe from him. This little lighting change might not seem like a big deal, but it means so much, I feel like. The remake was also missing another piece of dialogue. When Hiro's mother was explaining where Kisa was at the moment, she added in that she was watching the anime Hiro loaned her. This gives him knowledge later on in the episode that she watched it without him. Unlike in the remake, we just had to assume he found out another way.
何マジで拾ってんのさ、愚か者。アイデンティティとかポリシーとか持ってないわけ？転べって言われたら転ぶわけ？空飛べって言われたら飛ぶわけ？いえ、やだやだ、主体性を持ち合わせない人間って。ちょっとね、拾ったんならすぐ返してよ。それとも何、盗む気？いえ、そんな。ねえ、この俺からわざわざ会いに来てやったのに例の一つも言えないわけ？あなた様ごときにこうして会いに来る人間のことくらい今までの経験ですぐに察してくださいませんかね。相馬のチェリッシュ
ボケ女。
はい。
なんかな、噂で聞いてたほど大したことないじゃん。もっとすごい女かと思えば全てにおいて平均点程度だし。ああ、ばっからしい。会いに来るんじゃなかった。
What an introduction, huh? Hito makes me so angry right from the get-go. He is disrespectful to someone actually trying to help him. This cute little boy just turns around and lays a flurry of insults at Todo. It all happens so fast she doesn't really have time to comprehend what's going on. I get it, he's a kid, and he doesn't like Todo, but being rude to a complete stranger who is doing nothing but trying to help you is beyond infuriating. There are a few differences in this scene. Hito is sitting on an angled ledge in the original, while in the remake he is on top of what I can only assume is an electricity box. Another difference is to highlight Todo's space cadetness. They added in a 2-second pause of her putting it together in the original. This is missing from the remake because the original is much more comedic.
財布の中見せてよ。なんか薄汚れたカバン。あ、でもこの手帳の色はいいね。俺深緑って好きなんだ。これちょうだい。いけません、それは。俺は相馬ヒロ。まあもう会うことはないと思うけど、一応名乗っておくよ。じゃあね、ものすごくつまらない時間をくれてどうも。
待ってください。その手帳にはお母さんの写真が入って。お母さんがさらわれてしまいました。返していただかなくてはバイトを気にしてる場合ではないのです。
What an awful person this kid is. Can't believe he has the nerve to take someone else's belongings and then throw them to the ground. He even goes the extra mile and steals an item from Todo too. Can you be any more awful, Hito? I come from an Asian household, so my parents always told me to respect my elders, and if I didn't, I would be getting the old Vietnamese broom to the bottom. So seeing someone like this just triggers me to no end. The scene of Hito throwing Todo to the ground is actually shown in full effect, while in the remake she falls off screen. The original also shows Todo reeling in mild pain, while in the remake it shows Hito rummaging through Toru's bag. The last thing I want to point out was again the differences in tone that the show takes. That being that the original goes for a much more comedic feeling while the remake goes for something more serious. One good example is Toru's reaction to her notebook getting taken. In the original she uses a variety of funny facial expressions, while in the remake she is much more distraught and torn. I really feel for her. That notebook had a big memento of her mother in it, so I would be distraught as well. Especially if some punk took it.
ランドセルしょったクソガキのくせしやがって。
何そのガキにムキになっちゃってんの。
ああ、空まで飛ばすぞこら。
手帳
お前。その手帳には
お母さんが。
ヒロ、てめえなんかしやがったのか。
はあ、何それ。人を邪推するわけ。冤罪だったらどうやって謝罪するわけ。単に手帳取っただけじゃん。
してんじゃねえか、思いっきし返してやれ、さっさと。
何言ってんの。そのボケ女が取ってくれって頼んだんだよ。
ボケ女だ。調子乗んのも大概にしとけや、ヒロ。
幼児虐待の罪に問われたいなら勝手にすれば。
Kyo is the living embodiment of me in this scene. Thank you for doing everything I wanted to do. I love how Kyo is so protective of Todo when she won't stick up for herself. It really shows how much she cares about her and her self-worth. Moving on, the area where this all takes place is different in both versions. In the original they are at a shrine, while in the remake they are what seems like a park path. There are a few minor things missing from the remake in this scene. One thing missing was Todo freaking out while also trying to stop Kyo from hurting Hito. Besides these small changes, the scene is basically the same. I'm glad that someone else in this universe is getting pissed off at this kid. Like, is no one else going to say anything? Kyo, you get a gold star for this episode.
返さなきゃダメだよ。お姉ちゃんを困らせるようなことはしちゃダメだよ。ヒロちゃん。
バカみたい。俺だっていらないよ、こんなもの。
ヒロ。
ひどい。もうよろしいですから。
ヒロかね。
ヒロちゃん。どうしてお姉ちゃんにそんなこと、そんな悲しくなるようなことをしたら嫌だよ。
姉ちゃんお姉ちゃんってなんだよ。いつもボケ女の話ばかりしてさ。ビデオだってさっさとボケ女のところに持ってって、なんでさ、俺が貸したのに俺が一緒に見ようって。
でもヒロちゃんビデオ貸してくれた時、
俺は興味ないけどキサはこれ好きでしょ。貸すよ。俺は興味ないけど。
一言も そんなこと
いちいち口で言わせるわけ？察してよ。
ヒロ無茶言ってる。
うるさいよウサギ。
Ah, the fairest of maidens can calm the roughest monsters. AKA Kisa's a sweet angel that can keep this punk in check. This whole interaction shows just how jealous he was of Toru. Hiro's eyes aren't shown when Kisa approaches him because he is embarrassed at what is happening to him. He can't look her in the eyes. His jealousy says it all, really. A big talking point I want to bring up in this interaction was how Hiro brought up the anime DVD he wanted to watch with Kisa. I talked about it earlier, how that subtle mentioning of this detail would come up later, and here it is. I love how little bits of dialogue connect. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like when Hiro threw Toru's notebook at her, it was a lot more forceful in the remake. Besides small changes with Momiji, the scenes were relatively the same. Just the reason Hiro was angry in the first place brought him back to reality for me. He really does make me angry, but at the end of the day, he still is a kid. So I guess I can't completely hate him.
ヒロちゃん、お姉ちゃんにもちゃんと謝って。そうだよヒロ、トールは今日バイトなのに遅刻だよ。新たに出会った十二支のお一人はとても利発で、でもまだやっぱり幼くて。いいえ、謝っても許しません。
は？
ヒロさんには罰を受けていただきます。
何さそれ？何をさせる気なわけ？
抱きしめの刑です。
アホ、それのどこが罰だったよ。
ヒロが何年か気になってたのね。改めましてよろしくお願いいたします、ヒロさん。
Oh my god, Hiro is so cute as a sheep. Just look at his little hoofs. I almost forgot how mean he was about 30 seconds ago. Toru is just so darn nice, it's unreal. When she made that stern face and told him an apology wasn't enough, I actually thought she was angry. But nope, Toru just really takes the saying kill him with kindness a bit too far. It would at least take me some time to get over how much of a bully this kid was to me, but she shrugs it off so easily. I can't help but wonder if that reputation Hiro was talking about earlier mentioned how kind Toru was. It must have. This was probably the first real moment she lived up to that expectation to Hiro. Alright, now let's look at some comparisons. When Toru mentioned a punishment for Hiro, the original had some extra reactions to this. Just like how I was shocked, so were Kyo and Momiji. This was missing in the remake. It isn't that big of a deal, but I like this inclusion because it shows off just how out of character it was for Toru. There was a bit of blank thinking time for Toru before she hugged Hiro. This was included just to really sell the airheaded character trope to the viewers. Hiro is also a white sheep versus a light brown, I think. I don't know what color that is, honestly. I'm awful with colors. A camera angle I wish they included in the original is just a frontal shot of Hiro as a sheep. He's so darn cute, I just want to give him a hug too. I love how they kept his shaking hooves in the show just to show how shocked he was at what was going on too.
私、ヒロちゃんには嫌われてると思ってた。私がまだ小学生だった頃はよく遊んでくれたんだけど、急によそよそしくなって、理由もわからなくて、だからすごくびっくりして。
俺だってキサのこと
嬉しかった。
I just can't help but be sad at Kisa's whole situation. To be left alone with no reason to why must be so difficult. Nowadays, I have a handful of friends that I cherish, and if one of them would leave or abandon me, it would break my heart. So I can't imagine what it must be like when your best friend just abandons you just like that out of thin air. This scene was given major improvements in the remake compared to the original. As Kisa is telling Toru about Hiro, the remake added in some key scenes to highlight her point. This included times when they would hang out constantly and the time when the two fell off. His smile in this shot was really heartwarming. You can really tell how happy he is when he is with Kisa. On the flip side, you get this really hard moment for Hiro. His face is hardly shown, so you know he's going through a rough one. Another thing I want to point out was the toned down colors to this scene. The lack of color really is a great visual representation of Kisa's life at that point. This was the beginning of Kisa's trouble before it really spiraled into a dark place. So when she smiled this vibrant smile, I was ecstatic. She has moved on to be such a bigger person, and I am so proud of Kisa.
ヒロはまだそれをアキトに言ったらどうなるなんて考えもつかなかっただろうし、あえて口にしないと怖かったのかもしれない。
俺はキサが大好きだよ。
結果アキトはキサに全治2週間の怪我を負わせた。
ボコボコに殴っちゃったわけね。
その事件の後、ヒロは極力キサに近づかなくなったらしい。 そうこうしている間にキサはいじめにあったらしいが、
自分が原因で大切な人が傷ついたなら臆病にもなるからね。
ヒロは自分がしたことに対する憤りをどうしたらいいのかわからないのだろう。アキトは責められないからな。
Okay, let me get this straight. First, Akito mentally tortures Yuki to the point where he has trauma even now. Then they banish Kyo from the family, making him virtually an outcast. Then Akito goes on to injure Hotori's eye to the point where he is practically blind in that eye. And finally, Akito injures a little girl so badly she has to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks. I am so angry with this character, I can hardly contain it. They can go die in a well for all I care. The dialogue in this scene was the same, but there are many changes to the visuals. In the original, Shigure and Harry are not face to face, rather they are off doing their own thing. The remake included more backstory scenes while the remake just went for straight dialogue between the two. Shigure is noticeably smoking while in the remake he is just drinking tea. This scene was overall darker than his remake counterpart because it uses a scene of Akito hitting Kisa now versus later on in the remake. Personally, I feel like they used this scene at the wrong time, but you'll see what I mean in the next part.
ねえ、あんたってそんなにすごいわけ？どんなやつのどんな悩みでも解消させることができるわけ？どんな苦しみや悲しみでも消せるわけ？救うことができるわけ？
私はそんな全然。
謙遜は時に卑屈にしか見えないからやめてくれる？
はい。
大好きで大好きだって気持ちを貫きたくて、あの人にもそれを分かってほしくて。なのに俺はずるい。大怪我させといてキサに何も言えなくて、あの人にも言えなくて。なんでこんなガキなわけ？俺何もできないくせに。
Honestly, Hiro, just being able to say you love someone at your age just shows how mature you are. When I was around that middle school age, I could hardly display my feelings to others. So here's why I say the original used the scene with Akito and Kisa at the wrong time. This is Hiro's biggest moment in the episode, his time in the spotlight. In this scene, we learn that he feels bad for his weakness, his inability to do anything to help Kisa in her greatest time of need. This scene builds all these emotions up until this big reveal of how badly Kisa is being. This is the first glimpse we see of this incident and is really horrifying to see. Kisa is ruined to be this sweet caring girl that could do no harm to anyone. So seeing her being like this is supposed to wring out your heart. We see just how bad the damage was. We can relate to why Hiro felt so awful and powerless. He was standing before a god of his clan and he had no way to do anything to help the one he loved the most. I say the original used its abuse scene at the wrong time because using it earlier takes away the big shock and surprise factor that the remake builds up. It takes away from Hiro's moment. When Hiro beats himself down and calls himself a child, you really feel for him. All these moments where he was a snot-nosed brat disappears and he seems forgivable. He seems like he needs a helping hand like Kisa and all the other Somas received. Hiro seems like he needs Toru.
ヒロさんすごいです。
ちょっと別にフォローしてもらいたいなんて思ってないんだけど。それとも何？おべっか？
いいえ、違います。自分はまだ子供だと自分自身で認めるのはとても怖くて避けてしまう人も多いってお母さん言ってました。だからちゃんと認めることのできる人はとても勇気を持っているって。ヒロさんは何もできなくないです。キサさんを守る立派な王子様になってゆけます。だってヒロさんの中にちゃんと勇気があるのですから。怖くても前を向いて歩いていこうとする勇気。
The imagery of Hiro as a prince and Kisa as a princess is stunning in both versions. I love this whole moment because this is when Hiro is really honest with himself. He is finally wearing his heart on his sleeve. The hardest part of moving forward is admitting you messed up. If you have the ability to acknowledge your problems, then you can begin to assess a means to move forward. This makes me think of a time when I was close to dropping out of university. I blamed my failures on my professor and the university, when in retrospect it was my own fault. Admitting it was so hard because I didn't want to put myself in the position where it was my responsibility for my failures. So yes, Hiro, you were powerless to help Kisa this time around, but that won't stop you from trying again. You might stumble and you might fail, but as long as you keep getting back up, you'll definitely succeed. I'm sure of it. Wow, this episode was fantastic. I'm so sorry this is coming to you so late. My university is picking up and I have so much more homework to do, plus exams. This is my passion project, so I won't be stopping anytime soon. So don't you worry. Thank you to those special individuals that took the time to comment and reply to my dumb tweets or videos. It means so much to me. The season is drawing ever so close to its climax and I'm not ready for it to end. I'm scared of what I'll be when the series is over. Will you guys still like me, or is this ride almost to its last stop? I can't help but think about it sometimes. Oh well, either way, I'm going to enjoy every last moment of it. Thank you everyone for listening to me babble. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing. It means a lot to me. But with that, there isn't much more to say. I'm BriThi, your local DJ, signing off. Sayonara, friends.